It's not the skin. You can pull your skin tight right now, press your fingers against your cheekbone, and yeah, things look a little smoother, but let go, and the issue is still there. So it's not just skin elasticity, fine. Is it collagen? Everybody talks about collagen, and collagen does decline, roughly 1% per year after 30. But collagen loss is diffuse. It happens everywhere, roughly evenly. If collagen were the primary driver of what you see when you look in the mirror at 55 versus 35, the change would be uniform. Your whole face would just look a little thinner, a little less padded. That's not what happens though. What happens is specific. It's regional. Certain areas hollow out while other areas get heavier. Your cheeks flatten, but your nasolabial folds deepen. The area under your eyes sinks, but your jowl line thickens. That's not a uniform process. That's something moving. Is it bone? Bone resorption is real. The maxilla recedes, the orbital rim widens, the mandible loses projection. Genuine structural change. But bone resorption is slow, decades slow, and it doesn't explain the regional specificity of what you're seeing. Your bone isn't hollowing your cheeks while simultaneously building your jowls. So what's left? Fat, but not fat loss, fat migration. You have 3 primary superficial fat compartments in your midface, and they are on the move, right now. They're sliding. The work that changed how surgeons think about this came from Rod Rohrich and Joel Pessa, 2 plastic surgeons who spent years injecting dye into cadaver faces, methodically, compartment by compartment, mapping boundaries that nobody had precisely defined before. What they found is that facial fat doesn't exist as one continuous layer. It's partitioned. Discrete compartments, each wrapped in its own septal membrane, each with its own blood supply, each aging on its own timeline. The malar fat pad sits high on the cheekbone. The nasolabial fat pad sits lower along the nose to mouth crease. The jowl fat pad sits along the jawline. 3 compartments, 3 trajectories, 3 different speeds. What holds them in position? Retaining ligaments. Fibrous tethers that anchor the soft tissue to the bone beneath. The zygomatic ligament holds the malar pad. McGregor's patch, a dense ligamentous condensation, anchors tissue near the nasolabial fold. The mandibular ligament secures the lower face. These ligaments are the architecture. They're the shelving system, and they are under constant mechanical stress. When ligament integrity is high, the compartments stay put. Fat sits where it was deposited. Volume lives high on the cheekbone, the midface looks full, the jawline stays clean. When ligament integrity degrades, the compartments begin to descend. And here is the critical detail. They don't descend together. The malar pad tends to move first because the zygomatic ligament is thinner, more exposed to shearing force from facial expression. The nasolabial compartment follows, but its descent is partially resisted by McGregor's patch, which is denser, more fibrous, more stubborn. The jowl fat moves last, held longer by the mandibular ligament, but when it does release, the volume accumulates along the jawline in a way that's suddenly visible. This staggered descent is what creates the specific topography you recognize as aging. The cheek flattens because the malar fat has slid inferiorly. The nasolabial fold deepens because fat is accumulating above the crease line, pushed down from the malar zone and piling against the resistance of McGregor's patch. The jowl emerges because the lowest compartment finally breaches the mandibular ligament and pools below the jaw's bony margin. Hollowing at the top, bulging at the bottom. Not because something disappeared, because something relocated. The rate of that relocation, and this is where it starts to matter for what you do about it, is not fixed. It's not purely genetic. It's influenced by mechanical load. How much force the ligaments endure over years and decades. The ligaments aren't passive cables. They're living connective tissue that remodels in response to the forces applied to them. Excessive repetitive force accelerates their fatigue. Insufficient force allows atrophy. The question becomes, what is the primary source of mechanical force in the midface? The masseter. The most powerful muscle in the human face, proportional to its size. The muscle you use to clench your jaw, to grind your teeth at night, to hold tension when you're concentrating or stressed or driving or sleeping. The masseter doesn't just act on the mandible. Its force propagates upward through the SMAS, the superficial musculo-aponeurotic system, a continuous fibromuscular layer that drapes the face like a second skin beneath the fat. Tension in the masseter radiates through the SMAS, and the SMAS connects directly to the retaining ligaments. Carla Stecco, an anatomist at the University of Padua, whose dissection work has redefined how we understand fascial connectivity, has shown that these tissue layers don't operate in isolation. Force applied at one point transmits through the fascial network. The jaw isn't separate from the cheek, mechanically speaking. They're linked. Chronic masseter tension, the kind that most adults carry without being aware of it, the kind that shows up as morning jaw soreness or worn tooth enamel or headaches at the temples, delivers repetitive shearing force to the ligaments holding your fat compartments in place. Think of it this way. A forensic investigator walks into a room where a painting has fallen off the wall. The first question isn't, why did the painting fall? The first question is, what was holding the painting up and what damaged the support? The wire is intact. The hook is intact. The anchor in the wall, the part buried in the plaster, the part absorbing the daily vibrations from the building, from doors slamming, from traffic outside. That's what failed. Not because the painting got heavier, because the anchor endured too much repetitive stress over too many years, and it finally let go. The retaining ligaments of your face are the anchors. The fat compartments are the painting, and the vibrations, the daily, unconscious, repetitive mechanical load, come primarily from the jaw. Now look at it from the other direction. Picture a hillside with 3 terraces, each held by a retaining wall made of packed roots and soil, a natural shelf system, the kind you see in old-growth forests, where erosion and gravity are in constant negotiation. The topsoil on each terrace is the fat pad. The retaining walls are the ligaments. The root system that reinforces the walls is the SMAS network. And the rainfall, the constant, steady, erosive force, is the mechanical load from the jaw. When rainfall is moderate, the walls hold. The terraces retain their shape. Each terrace looks distinct. The hillside looks structured. When rainfall intensifies, when the mechanical load increases, when the jaw is clenching 8 hours a night, when the masseters are bracing through every stressful meeting and every anxious commute, the walls begin to wash out. The top terrace goes first because it's most exposed. Soil slides from the upper terrace to the middle. Then the middle terrace overloads and begins to spill into the lowest one. The hillside hasn't lost soil. The total volume is the same. The distribution has changed. The structure has changed. That's your face. Same fat, different geography. I spent 4 months paying attention to my own jaw, not intervening, just noticing. I put a small dot on my laptop screen, a piece of tape on my steering wheel, and set 3 random alarms on my phone. Every time I saw the dot or felt the tape or heard the alarm, I checked, are my teeth touching? In the first 2 weeks, the answer was yes about 70% of the time. My teeth were in contact, not grinding, not clenching hard, just resting together, lightly braced, the masseters carrying a low-grade contraction I had never once registered. 70% of the times I checked. I'd been carrying that load for decades without knowing. 4 months of just noticing, not fixing, just becoming aware, and the contact rate dropped to about 30%. Awareness itself changed the pattern. Not completely, enough. One person I think about often was a combination of several patients I've worked with over the years. A woman, mid-60s, not her exact age, I'm blurring details deliberately, who had been told by 2 different cosmetic consultants that she needed filler in her cheeks and a lift along her jaw. Volume up top, tighten down below. And that advice wasn't wrong from one perspective. It addressed the visible topography. But when I asked her to bite down gently and hold, and I placed my fingers along her masseter, the muscle was dense, thick, hypertrophied from years of nighttime bruxism she'd never been diagnosed for. Her retaining ligaments hadn't failed because of age alone. They'd been under siege. The migration she could see in her nasolabial folds, the jowling she hated along her jaw. The timeline had been accelerated by a mechanical pattern nobody had asked about. Nobody had put their fingers on her jaw and said, "How long have you been clenching?" She didn't need me to tell her what to do. She needed the question. Once she understood that her jaw was driving force into the system holding her fat pads in place, her approach shifted on its own. She got a night guard, not cosmetic, a dental one for the bruxism. She started noticing daytime clenching the same way I had, with small environmental cues. Over 8 months, her masseter visibly reduced in bulk. The migration didn't reverse. Fat that has descended doesn't climb back up the hill, but the rate changed. The nasolabial crease stopped deepening at the pace it had been. The jowl line stabilized. Her dentist noticed her tooth enamel stopped showing new wear. Multiple systems responding to the same upstream change. The principle here isn't a protocol. It's a question you carry with you. Where is the mechanical load, and can I reduce it? The fat pads will migrate, that's biology. The ligaments will fatigue, that's time. The speed at which both of those happen, that's influenced by forces you can actually modulate. Not with creams, not with exercises that promise to lift your cheekbones. With the mundane, unsexy, profoundly effective practice of releasing your jaw. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, before you get out of bed, check. Are your teeth touching? Just notice. Don't force your mouth open, don't do anything dramatic. Let the jaw fall slack. Feel the masseters soften. That's it. That's the entire practice for day 1. Notice and release. You'll forget by noon, that's fine. The next morning, notice again. The repetition isn't the intervention. The awareness is the intervention. You're removing load from a system that has been absorbing it silently for years. Every hour your masseters aren't bracing is an hour your retaining ligaments aren't fatiguing under unnecessary shear. That's not a cure, that's a speed dial. The synthesis is this. Your face has 3 fat compartments sitting on 3 ligament shelves, and those shelves are being vibrated loose by a jaw most of us never think about. The hollowing and the heaviness you see aren't opposites. They're the same event viewed from 2 different positions on the hill. Volume leaving the top terrace is volume arriving at the bottom terrace. The total hasn't changed, the structure has. And the rain that's reshaping the hillside, a meaningful portion of that rain is something your jaw is doing right now at this moment while you listen to this. The compartments are sliding. You get to influence the pace.